We're going to look at the pictures in our group, and people have put up a lot of interesting pictures. We have 254 pictures up. It's so special. Is anyone here not in the Flickr group? Okay, then let's get you in the Flickr group before we leave today. We can see lots of interesting things. So what I'm going to do is try to go all the way to the beginning of our Flickr thing. That's it. By me. By you. By me. There is our first picture of our, and that actually brings us to field trips, which I have to make sure I say too. So I can't leave before we talk about F64, panning, and field trips. So I'm going to go over some pictures, and if one of them's yours, let's speak up and we'll make it big and see it. So Roadrunner here, no. We have Patrick has a picture here, but at Mitra, I think that must be you, right? Okay. And Mitra has an interesting photograph here that we can see. I'm going to close this so we get better light. What has she done here that's interesting compositionally? Anyone have something that you can notice?
The bright makes the gray.
The bright color of the flowers against the gray. And then also look at these vertical lines. And the rule, in some ways, of thirds, certainly with this third being all this textured wood. Really nice little composition. Very, very interesting picture. I think the next one's also by Mitra. Maybe not. I've been having trouble with Flickr and Firefox, which is really interesting. I don't know if there's something wrong with my Firefox. If anyone else had that problem, I can't go through. Like here, I'm in Chrome.
Yeah, sometimes it does that.
And I lose the arrows, the forward and backward arrows.
Yeah.
Let me see. Which one? This?
Yes.
Okay, these are buttons to do things. So this one will download the photograph. This one will share, give you the share button so you can share the photograph, a link, but it's restricted, so I can't share Mitra's picture or HTML. When I get to one of my pictures, I'll show that. Or I can say I like it and I can give it a star. Fave. They don't call it like, they call it fave. Look at the color of the flowers here against the sky and the luminosity. Did you do this in a phone to get that little framey thing, or is it a program you have, Mitra?
It used to be in Flickr. This is a very old photo.
One of the old Flickr photos?
Yeah.
Oh, so
I was able to do the framing, but when I added to this, then it became square. I got around it and it became funny like that. But at the beginning, it was just round.
Interesting. Yeah, there is some light editing in Flickr, which we'll look at later in the quarter. Let's go back to the group. I hope I'll go back to the right place. No, I won't. Oh no. Okay, so let's go back. And you're going to say do what? What's the best way in Flickr to get back to the group?
That bottom one.
But will I go to Mitra's photo stream or will I go to the group? Okay. Nope.
It's because you click the arrow to go to the next photo. It's going to meet this photo.
It's all very complicated, but it's fun and it works over time. Let's go back to our group. Go back to photo 5, fall 2014. Yeah.
Do you want us to post photos from the photo class?
The goal is to have pictures from during the class. If someone wants to share something for a question or for a purpose from before the class, that might be okay for 1 or 2 photos. But anything that's actually for an assignment should be from this quarter. since the 22nd of September.
I'm going to confused on what's the assignment and what's called on Flickr.
From now, in the very beginning, if people shared older photos, it was okay. Now everything should be from the quarter. Okay. So we're back at the beginning. I know what I'm going to do now. Patrick, Mitra. Is this another one of yours, Mitra? Wonderful composition and really nice use of the silhouette on that one. Keep going. Okay, here's one by just a new window. Wum Kim. That's you. I thought that was you. Wum Bear. And this is interesting. Let's see if it lets me. Okay. I'm going to just now, during the quarter, I'll do some Flickr fixes. These are pictures that I'll take and I'll make visual suggestions. So I'll post an adjusted version and say, what do you think of this? And sometimes you'll agree and sometimes you won't agree, but it is a chance for us to, rather than me to say, why don't you make that darker? I'll actually, if you give me permission, will come in here. Hopefully this will work. Let's see if I'm in the right, and I'll make changes. So this is a really interesting photograph. There's a number of things I like about this photograph. I can feel them at the edge of the cliff. I feel, and where is it? I mean, we just saw the thing on Yosemite, right? I mean, it's very appropriate topic. It's Yosemite, right? It's Yosemite? Yeah. So I'm going to come over here and think, what can I do to make this better? Now, I'm working with a JPEG that went through Flickr, so I can't make it wonderful. I'm very limited. If you have the original file, you'll be able to do more to a photograph than I can do in this thing. But I'm going to go to, I use Lightroom primarily as my favorite software. And the computer's going to die. First thing I would think about, well, actually, the first thing I'm going to do is go to the basic palette. And I'm going to bring back the valley. Then I'm going to think about, what do we talk about all the time? Rule of thirds. So I'm going to think about maybe putting them a little bit more on the edge and see how I like that. So that they're right here really looking out at this valley. The next thing I'm going to look at is that color. And I think this is way too blue, but I can see what I love about Lightroom. See how I'm picking over here? And then the navigator on the far left shows me what's going to happen. So I probably don't want to go quite that far, but I think I might want to do that. And then I want to do this. And I want a little bit of clarity and a little bit of vibrance. And one of my favorite effects is a very, very, very little, you must be so careful with this tool, post-crop vignette. It's a little bit of darkening on the edge. I can show you the effect here. No darkening, some darkening. Oh, it's way too subtle. You didn't see anything. Okay, is that too much? Yes, that's too much. We want it to be subtle. I'm going to do like there. Usually I do, on a real photograph, I'll do maybe 10 or 12, but not more than that. But on a real, big, anyway. This is a real photograph. I mean, on a photograph, I'm trying to finish for printing an actual final master print. Okay. So let's. So what do you think? Can you see in just a few controls how we've done a number of things? We've brought in the background more so we see what they're looking at. We've cropped it so that their spacing is a little bit better in the frame. And we've written the color and neutralized the color.
Why was taking that photo? What could have been done? I mean, what in terms of shutter speed would have stopped to?
Yeah, so Mitra's question about what could have been done when taking the photograph. You can take better exposures. I'd have to see the original to know for sure. I think what probably happened is that this is slightly overexposed, and in a digital picture, your preference is not to overexpose because you lose highlight detail really, really quickly. So he could have taken a bracketed. So if it was a really important picture, bracketing, remember from the handout, you take what the camera says, and you maybe take one less and one more, so you have a choice when you get into the computer to fix it. I would probably have made the best exposure out here, and then worked on them later, which you could do also.
They wouldn't be silhouettes.
They could have been silhouettes, but it's, in a digital picture, it's easier to bring back a shadow than bring back a highlight. So when we go back to the develop mode with this picture, we can see that there's a, it's smashed over here, while with this other one, it's more even in the whole frame. We're going to talk about histograms later, but we really want our histogram to sort of go the full round, not be smashed on one side or the other. Okay. The sensors that you're using are more sensitive to shadow detail than to highlight detail. So when you take a picture, we're going to talk about the histogram a lot, but you want all of the tones, ideally, to get recorded, from the very brightest tone to the very darkest tone. But if you can't, if the contrast range in the scene is too great, you have to make sure you get your highlights. The bright areas, once they're gone forever. A deep dark shadow area, we can bring back with using the contemporary software tools. Now, what else could he have done? What did we do when I was in the window? He could have used a little fill flash. So the fill flash would have lit up the back of them. So very, very, very minimal fill flash. You'd have to know how to use the camera. And your camera probably could handle it. I mean, those little cameras have such a weak flash that since they have bad flashes, you can do really good fill flash with them. So you could, if you forced your flash on, it would give a little light to them, or a reflector, or let them be a silhouette. I don't know that there's any detail here that I wouldn't mind being silhouetted, right? I mean, as long as I can sort of tell who it is by the shape, it's fine with, that's fine. Back to group. That's what you were saying. If I hadn't done something wrong, we could go back to the group. Couldn't go back to the group in the right place, though. No.
Did you have the?
But luckily, no, actually, I kept it open. Dylan isn't here, I don't think. Mandy, is this some of yours? Which, is there one you want to share particularly if we're going to look at one? Oh no, my battery's almost dead. Okay, can we look at this one? Okay. And this doesn't, let's see if it comes back. It doesn't seem like it had enough pixels when you made it. Was it a really small picture? It's a little better now. So we want to watch your, let's see what your download sizes are. Do you have it open for that? Oh, so it's a big picture. I don't know why it's looking blurry right now. It'll fix itself eventually. This is interesting, and some things I would think about with this. What is this about? What's this picture about?
The lake.
The lake. Okay, so the texture on the water, and definitely the scale with this one little person, and the sense of the space of this place. Could we do anything with this? Let's do this. So let's look. Okay. Got this. Let's go a little smaller. Maybe not. Okay, so what would I want to do with this? I'll show you a couple cool things. A number of the softwares have this angle tool. So I might want to make sure the shoreline is square. So I actually could just drag along the shoreline and it will straighten it. which is a very cool thing. But I think that this, usually I like foreground rocks like this because it gives a foreground, middle ground, background. In this picture, I'm feeling like there's just not enough rock to really be a foreground element, so I would be tempted to make this a little bit more panorama. That's better. And then I would be tempted to think about warming it up a little bit. Neutralizing the clouds, maybe not that much, I can go down. Opening up the shadows. And sharpening it a bit with clarity. And look at here how now we have this line of the guys walking, the line of the beach, the little boat, the texture in the water, and then as a panorama, does it work better? But what matters is, Andy, do you like it better now or do you like it better before? Oh, good. And you don't have to. And I think that's one of the keys. This is like a suggestion I might make on a, for anything. It's like it's to talk about, it's to think about. Why can't I find an F? And think about what you were trying to say. This is a really quiet picture. It's an everyday picture. It doesn't have, but there's just this sense of the scale of that person for me. What I might be tempted to do is there's a couple of people walking around the lawn. I might be tempted to do something like this. Look at how different that goes. Doesn't it feel like it's from another error, not as a mistake, as in another time? With just a couple of strokes, how it feels like this could be the beach on any day, any year, any moment. So how we can change the pictures to make them magic. I think this time I do have to go back to group. I do have to pray they go to the right place. So looking at the pictures that way and see what you saw, and what we do post-processing, we call it, is about realizing that, is about trying to make it work in different ways. Make it finished. People are putting things up as we speak.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I know you put this up, huh?
Yeah.
Let's look at it. Look at the textures. And I think the exposure is really good on this. The texture is really good. This might be one. And are you using any software in India?
No.
No software. If you were to leap into something like Lightroom, what I would think about is just darkening the edges slightly, so that you really got that circle to pop. Look where it is. It's on the blue thirds. There's so many nice things about the texture of this detail.
I can have some glass
So what you using iPhoto or using just the software that came with the camera?
I use Photoshop.
Oh, Photoshop. Okay. Okay, let's go down. Anyone have anything near the beginning in there? So stop me when I get there, if it decides to let me. Well, I'm at the top, so I'm not going to make us wait to go down the bottom. I'm just going to zoom till someone sees one of their pictures.
Mine were up there.
They were up there?
Yeah,
Let's get one of them.
Right above the roses.
Let's get there. It's not cooperating.
So it starts with that one.
Yeah, jumping around. There's one of Eric's. Okay, we'll see if it's in the mood to cooperate. Okay, I'm at the top. I'm moving down. It's one of yours? Okay, let's open that one. Open a new window. Let that draw. And, oh. And then the cat is yours too? It's not cooperating. It's getting tired. It's almost out of juice. So let's get to... Not letting me do anything. This is so frustrating. My plug is in my office. I didn't grab it. I can move to the other computer in a second, but no, it's okay. I have to talk about other things in a few seconds. So, sorry about this. I don't know what he's thinking about. I'm thinking that I have too many windows open. Do you think? That's interesting. Okay. I'm looking for the picture I just opened. You silly thing. I wonder if I was in. Is there any chance I was here? Well, that could do it. Love. Yes. This really, really nice picture. And what I love when people take a different point of view. And look at how the choice to cut things out and give just enough detail, and the close-up, and how the use of depth of field. A lot of pieces of what they're talking about. So from the line of the hand going out of the frame to even this detail. I mean, you would think like, oh, that's in the way, but look what happens if we cover it. How much flatter it becomes by having the ink well just there. It creates a little bit more depth and a little bit more information about what's happening. Really nice. I'm going to do more of these. I'll post them as short videos on our group, and we'll keep moving forward with learning about this.